Well, welcome everybody to Business on the Real. I'm your host, Eli Thompson, and today's guest is a remarkable woman. And I'm using that word as a pun, of course, because her name is Miss Trenisha Marks, and she is an incredible lady. We met on Clubhouse, and since then we've just been communicating about a lot of things and found out we have a lot in common. So, Miss Marks, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Trenisha Marks, and I am in full time ministry. I also have a company which is called the Cookie Lady Foundation, and what we do is we basically we equip children all over the world in order to have their own businesses. I teach online baking, and so the goal is it's not just to teach them to bake or to teach them to do t-shirt presses, or because I have instructors for different things, but the goal is to give them the backside of business, for them to learn how to be financially responsible, for them to learn how to take how to deal with credit. We have financial literacy classes. We also have customer service classes and different things. But the goal is so that when these kids finish, they actually have a well-rounded. They have their company LLC. They have their branding taken care of, and my foundation actually pays for them to have employees during the summertime, so that they learn how to be CEOs. Because my goal is not just to equip entrepreneurs that are exhausted and tired, but for them to learn that you'll always stay mom and pop until you move into that next level.
That's amazing. Now, you're helping them to become a corporation versus
Yeah.
just being self-employed,
Yes.
which is a major step.
Yes.
So what made first let's go back to the cookie lady. So why did you start baking?
We have this fundraiser at the church, and the crazy thing is that I've always really been into baking, but nobody ever knew it. Like my closest friends never knew I could bake, like really bake. They were like, oh, okay, I baked a peach cobbler every now and then or something like that. Well, what happened was we had this fundraiser for our church, and I wanted to buy an air conditioning unit for our children's church, and I knew that I was not able to take out $3,000 out of my household in order to purchase that. So I said, well, what can I do? What skill do I have that I can do that I can make some money on and just do it? So I started off selling just slices of pound cake, 7 Up cake. And so I sold those, and within probably like 2.5 weeks, I had made enough money to pay for what I needed to pay for. And people just kept asking for me to bake stuff. So I said, you know what? I think I could do this like for a real business. And so that's kind of like where it started, and I just picked it up from there.
Now that's amazing. 7 Up cakes. I love 7 Up cakes. Haven't
Yeah.
had one in years. But
Yeah.
so then you transitioned to cookies?
Yes. So what happened was I had to close down for a period of time because I was overcoming some health issues, which was overcoming fibromyalgia. So my muscles used to lock up really bad, and so I basically specialize in keto chocolate chip cookies and regular cookies. And so when I came back, I said, you know what, I need to be able to do something to where it doesn't take a long time to
Uh-huh.
to be able to do it, and I could pre-prep ahead of time and stuff like that. And so cookies was like the best thing that happened for me because I was able to make different types of cookies, and I was just really good at it. So people just started calling me the Cookie Lady because my company was named Remarkable Creations, but they started calling me the Cookie Lady. And so when I reopened, that's just, and I think the funniest story, I was in the store one time getting ingredients, and this little girl runs up to me. She's like, "Mommy, take a picture. Mommy, take a picture." And I'm like, "Does she know who I am?" So I'm looking at her and I'm like, "Who does she think I am?" And she's like, "Aren't you the Cookie Lady?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I better be famous." But yeah, that's what it was. So I kind
Oh
of
God.
transitioned, and I've been doing the cookies ever since.
That's amazing because when your customers rename your business, you have something very, very powerful and long lasting. It's
Yes,
sustainable. That's
yes,
wonderful.
yes.
Wow. And you also teach students overseas, not just in the
I
US, right?
do. So I met this little boy online. I met him, and his name is David. And so David and I started talking. And so I met him actually. I met his grandmother in Antigua because I was doing some traveling, some speaking things that I did in Antigua. And I met his grandmother. She's like, you need to meet my grandson because he's an amazing baker. And she was just like, he bakes African breads. And so I was like, okay. So I started talking to David, and I was like, David, what if I started teaching you how to make cookies? I'm like, do you think you could sell it? And he was like, yeah, because I was trying to give him something that he didn't necessarily have access to, but it would create a stream of income for him. And so I taught him how to make the oatmeal raisin cookie. And this little boy started making so much money with just making the oatmeal raisin cookie. So then I taught him the peanut butter cookie, the the tea cake, and then the last thing I just taught him, he just made the red velvet stuffed cookies. And it's like, this boy makes so much money. He was able to pay for his schooling. He was able to pay for his sister's schooling. He was able to purchase his first pair of shoes that he had never had. He was able to purchase his sister some. We've now since then we bought him a cow, so he has like milk that he can sell. He has chickens, and we built chicken coops and stuff like that. But when I started working with David, it let me know, like, wait, this is something I might be able to do like on a bigger scale. And
Mm-hmm.
so I already had a school that I was working with down there. So I talked to my godson. I'm like, do you think that I could possibly build a kitchen onto this school, and we could maybe teach the kids how to bake? And so he was like, well, I mean, sure. So we were able to build. We talked to the director. We built the kitchen on the school and taught those kids how to bake. And next thing we know, we got the widows coming in, and we teach them how to do different things. And I mean, when I tell you, it's an overabundance of students. Like, I literally this morning I taught a group in Tanzania how to make blackberry cobbler, but they don't have access to like to ovens, and so
Mm. Okay.
we bake it on big pits, like barbecue pits. We bake
Mm-hmm.
like cupcakes, we bake all that stuff. But my goal is to build them a kitchen, a school where they can learn how to bake, and not only that, but it also helps with their education.
So you're in Africa, you're in Antigua, you're in
Yeah,
Africa,
Jamaica.
and go ahead and tell me where. Tell me more.
Yeah,
Tell us
we
more.
have some in Kenya, Ghana. We have some in Tanzania. We have some in Dubai. I have some schools in Jamaica, and so all of the other schools are online schools. But I have physical locations in Africa, and so my goal, I have 4 schools under contract right now in Africa, and I really would like to finish building up all of those to code. Like, there's certain things I want in the school. You know what I'm saying? And so I partner
Mm-hmm.
with some barbers now, and so we're building another wing on there where we're actually going to have a barber school where they can learn how to cut hair, and they can learn, and hopefully that'll be another means of income for them to come in.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what is the age range of the children
Um,
typically?
11, between 11 to 19. Um, I do have kids that are younger than that, but business side of it, I just have found
Mm-hmm.
that they're able to retain the information at
Right.
around 11. I do have some very gifted 6 and 7 year olds go. And I have a little girl who's 4 that she's autistic. And this little girl can bake. When I tell you can bake and like crack an egg over, like skills normal adults like struggle with, this little girl can do. And they said she was incapable of learning, but we're using baking as a therapy for her. And she's able
Yes.
to concentrate. And she follows, when I say she follows instructions, she can
Mm-hmm.
follow instructions all the way down.
Now, I read an article about a little girl, and that's her mom. How her mom is teaching her the actual school curriculum through the
Yeah,
art of baking, and
yeah,
it's amazing because we all have certain skill sets. We
yeah.
just have to tune into those skill sets, and I'm glad that you're not ignoring what she's able to do and giving her the ability, the opportunity to
Yeah,
do
I have
something
about
that's.
4 little kids. I have about 4 kids that are autistic. And when I tell you, once you gain their trust,
Uh-huh.
and it's like they look forward to, like,
Yes.
one little kid, his mom had to cancel for some reason, and he had a whole bad week. Like, I really had to have like a Wednesday class with him because she was like, I can't go, no, like, you're gonna have to bake with him. She was like, because he's like going crazy, like, no, I bake.
Yeah.
So we had
Yeah.
to actually have the class or whatever. But what I've learned is they're very list oriented. So
Uh-huh.
you have to do the same thing. So like,
Yes.
baking with the cookies with them is good
Uh-huh.
because we do a basis of a base cookie, and then I do the add-ins for them. So they always
Okay.
have their comfort, which is the cookie. They have their
Yes.
comfort of whatever it is, and we're just adding different things that they like to put in there. And also sensory motor skills, like for them to learn the sweet, the
Uh-huh.
sour, like that kind of thing in order to put it in, savory,
Uh-huh.
that type of thing. So we're able to bring in those types of techniques too and be able to do therapy with them.
Oh wow, that is beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So you're actually building a whole community. It's not just not just a business. You're rebuilding communities and rebuilding lives.
Right. The newest thing that we have is called Cupcakes and Conversations. And so what this is that we have foster. I work with the foster care program, and
Mm-hmm.
so one of the first where we're able to have hard conversations over cupcakes. And so mothers and daughters are able to come in and be able to bake, and it's kind of guided conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about some things that they may not necessarily be comfortable with. What I've learned is that conversations come over baking. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the concept that I made. Like I said, conversations come over like baking and lick spoons, because as a child, I remember being in the kitchen and my mom baking something, and me and my sister like getting the spoon, and
Yes.
and those were learning opportunities.
Yes.
Those were learning and teaching opportunities that we were able to get. And so I wanted to incorporate that with conversations that people may not necessarily be comfortable sitting in a group environment with, but we can actually bake, and then we can talk about value. We can talk about things as we're baking.
That's beautiful. Because my grandson was here maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I was baking some brownies. And I said, "You want to lick the bowl?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, I used to do that when I was little. And I said, when you were little, I would let you lick the bowl and the
Yeah.
spoon. And he said, "Okay, I'll try it." He said, "This is good." And so, like you said, we just started having a conversation about something upbeat. And it was wonderful to even engage in that conversation with him at that time.
Right.
Yes, yes, ma'am. So, and you're also in ministry.
Yes.
You're involved in so many things, and I love it because I love your energy. Do it while you
They
can,
all
right?
feed into each other, though. That's the thing.
Yes.
They all feed into each other. Like, that's what I tell people all the time. Like, I'm not interested in just baking. I'm interested in
Mm-hmm.
changing lives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in just doing, anything to do anything. Like, when you when you teach someone how to do something as a skill set they can use for the rest of their lives, that means they will never be broke again in their life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They can always,
Yes.
especially, all they have to do is master one thing. Master one thing. Well, I not only do I do that, but it's like I can incorporate, especially in my coaching, where I can use God principles, kingdom principles, without necessarily having to say, go open your Bible to Genesis 1 and 1. But I can
Yes.
take them and let them know, like in the beginning, God created you with a purpose. He created you
Yes.
with a purpose, and you're not by mistake, and you're not by. And it was like with David, I was telling him, like, you don't understand when we first started building there, a lot of the witches showed up on the land, and they started
Mm-hmm.
doing sacrifices and stuff like that. But this kid right here knows about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He knows about Jesus, and he knows about Jesus because we bake together and we talk, and we're able to talk about, talk about God, and talk about, different things. And then his mom comes in, and we're able to talk to her. But this is giving them something. And I think people miss the opportunity because we think that ministry is just in the pulpit. Now, I can
Correct.
preach. I can
Mm-hmm.
preach, and I
Mm-hmm.
love to preach, and I love
Mm-hmm.
to teach. But my greatest ministry is not inside the church. My greatest
Right.
ministry are the kids like David, are the kids like one another lady. Her name is I can never pronounce her name. I call her Miss R, but she has this long name. But this lady lost everything. She lost her husband, she lost her kids, she lost everything, and she's by herself, and she was a widow. And us being able, we have groves there where we're able to plant some trees for them, citrus trees, and
Mm-hmm.
so they take care of it, and all the fruit that they get, they sell it at the market, and they bake in order to get their. She has a company with fabric where she makes
Okay.
skirts and head wraps and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
So she's able to use that to barter to get the fabric. But this lady, just listening to her and her saying, like, I didn't have anything of my own, and I had no idea of how I was going to get it. But to be able to bring, and to me, that's what Jesus did.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus instilled hope in people, and it wasn't all about the synagogues and the other places. And I think we miss times, and like, God has us all strategic places, and I think we miss opportunities because we're expecting it to look a certain way.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I have been concerned about throughout my ministerial career, because I'm more so outside the church walls, talking to people who have drug problems, alcohol problems, or maybe even be prostitutes. You never know who you're going to meet and for what reason. We
Yeah.
don't know why they're in that situation. And a lot of times in the church, that question is never asked.
Yeah.
because expectations are made before you even get through the door.
Right.
So, I understand, and that is so wonderful, so powerful. Well, tell us a little bit about what your plans are and how people can help you to get there.
My plans right now, I really want to get the schools that I have right up to code. And so right now, like we just finished putting on a roof on one of my schools. I'm looking to get some plumbing and stuff done in the school, which is what I'm doing now. They have outhouses in
Yes.
the school, and I'm not really comfortable with that because one of our kids, like a couple months ago, was outside and went to an outhouse and got bit by a snake.
Oh,
And
gosh.
so my thing is I really want to create a safe environment for them so
Mm-hmm.
that they can get it. So I have the four schools, like I said, under contract. Two are done. One's land is cleared, and the other one, we haven't worked on it yet because we're still waiting on funding and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's really what we're doing. I really want to get those schools nice. That is
Mm-hmm.
the goal to make them nice. And I think I shared this with you before, but it's like I feel like I could stop teaching in America and it wouldn't be a really big deal because
Mm-hmm.
these kids would just pick up an iPad or or watch TV or do something like that. But if I stop teaching in my third world countries, if I stop doing that, it's like it's a difference between them eating and them not eating. It's
Yes.
a difference between them being able to have education and not have education. Being able to provide David with chickens that he can sell the eggs and do the milk not only just gives him income, but it also changes his family's value and their
Yes.
status on what they can.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah. So if they want to get involved, you can reach me on Facebook, Tradition Marks, and then also I have the Cookie Lady Foundation that we're in the process of. We're still waiting on because of COVID. Everything is like skeleton crew.
Yes.
We're still waiting on our 501c3 for that, but we do have a fiscal sponsor that we're working with right now in order so we can keep the movement going while we're
Mm-hmm.
waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's basically what we do.
And because I'm connected with a lot of people in Africa as well, I want to be able to connect you
Yes,
so that you can do some, work on some different projects together, which is amazing. So
absolutely.
I do have some friends who are waiting to connect with you. But
Yes.
if someone wants to send money for your foundation to assist with this now, would they just connect with you on Facebook with
Yeah,
Tranisha
they
Marks?
can connect me on Facebook with Tranisha Marks and my company Remarkable Creations, which
Hmm.
is on Facebook and Instagram, Tranisha Marks too.
Okay.
They reach out that way. I do have a website being built, but it's not done yet. So you
Yeah.
know, this is so funny, and I don't know who will see this, but I want to encourage people to understand that you don't have to have every single step of the way. You get more going in God than you do just waiting and trying to have everything perfect before you go. I did not know that I had a whole company inside of me until there was nothing left for me to do but to bake. It was like I
Wow.
was facing a divorce. I was facing going through situations, and I had teenage kids. And I'm like, what can I do? Besides, I was doing it as a hobby at first, but it was
Hmm.
like when I had that, it was like I have to be able to be able to control my time,
Hmm.
overcoming the fibromyalgia and doing all the different things, that happen with that. And so, what I just want to say is that people think you have to have all this stuff. I started with a Cash App and a flyer that said "Bake with Me." That's what I started
Wow.
with, a Cash App and a flyer, and it just grew from there. And sometimes we think we have to have everything perfect. Now, I don't know everything there is about business, but what I do know is that I'm called, and I know that I'm a kingdom builder. And I
Hmm.
think you just have to know what your lane is. Know what your
Yes.
lane and don't worry about all the extra stuff. Like I'm not a super techie person and all of that stuff. All I want to do is meet people and just teach them how to bake and change their lives. And I know I can do that without having to have all this extra stuff. People tell you got to have this, you got to have that. I don't need all of that. I just need to know
Yes.
now. I grow in the process of it. Like when I got the foundation, I knew I had to have the paperwork in order, because I kind of had this company that was like a big headed baby. If that
Hmm.
makes sense, like the baby, like the head was so big and the body was so little. I'm like, I gotta fix this or my baby's gonna keep falling. So I need to build the basis for it. But what I'm saying is, I did not know. I had no idea what I was doing. I just
Yes.
wanted to bake. And if you run in your lane and you do what you do, God will connect you with the people that you need to be connected to. Like the guy that's doing my website, he connected with me. What can I do to help you? The lady that's doing my branding, she was like, what can I do to help you? You know what I'm saying? Into the school. So if I can encourage anyone to do anything, is just do what you're supposed to do and let God give you along the way. But don't
Mhm.
worry about having everything together before you start.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today on Business on the Real. Again, my name is Eli Thompson, and I am your host, and we'll see you the next time. Ciao for now.